Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Bruce Bradbury, and welcome to the show. We're going to be looking at a little bit of the news circulating around IEP or Icahn Enterprises. And that, of course, is Carl Icahn's. Carl Icahn's a famous investor. That is his company, his holding company, his master limited partnership that he runs, and it's publicly traded, and there's a ton of drama around it. If you're unclear at all on the situation, I advise you to watch a ton of my videos that I posted previously. But essentially, we're going to be looking at a little bit of breaking news. What's going on? So Hindenburg has since released that report a week ago, and there has been, pushback. Carl Icahn is known as the vulture capitalist, the corporate raider. He's the guy that came in and organized corporate takeovers, board restructurings. He's the guy that has done all of that to companies. Now Hindenburg's coming and trying to basically play ball with the pro football player. He's basically, high school leagues trying to play with Tom Brady. I don't know sports at all, but I hear that sports metaphors are popular, so I'm giving one to you there. Anyway, there's a lot of news, so let's jump right into it. Number one thing that is most interesting that we're going to see today is that post the short report, there was a federal investigation launched from the SEC into Icahn Enterprises, and then on their earnings call, Icahn Enterprises, they actually called out and said, hey, we're going to be doing a ton of stock buybacks to fight against these short sellers. So it's a little bit of an economic engineering, financial engineering tactic to raise that stock price. And we've seen the stock fluctuating. So let's just launch right into it. This is Icahn Enterprises. Today, they were up very modestly. They were up, only 0.26%. After hours, they were up 0.85% from that path. They had a huge drawdown from, from the day's peak. So from today's open to the peak, 2.3%, and then they crashed back down basically, not crazy. We're looking at 5-day. Let's look at a month so we could really see the drama. So report drops, down 40%, and then from 40% up 26, down 4, up 4, down 15, down 2, up 11. Okay, and this is when Carl Icahn announced that he's going to do a ton of stock buybacks. So I want us to get into the news. Actually, we're going to find an article where they talk about the buybacks. So Icahn's double whammy, Q1 stock buys followed by a short report. Let's try that. So, okay, cool. So Zinger key points. Carl Icahn increases his IEP holdings by 11.48 million shares. Now 71.3% of his portfolio. That actually brings me to something interesting, and let me just look that up. So if you guys have ever heard out there, or girls, if you guys or girls have ever heard out there of of a Form 13F. Now, Form 13F is, I'm trying to find it on the SEC website right now. Okay, I'll just go over here. You can search with me. SEC. So Form 13F information table actually outlines what a corporation, what a financial fund manager has to disclose by filing a 13F and tell us what kind of companies that they own and how many shares of each. So are we looking at Carl Icahn right now? I don't even know. Yeah, we are. Okay, we're looking at Carl Icahn. This is the information table, and we can see here all the companies that Icahn owns. Basically, we're very, interested in name of issuer, and we're very interested in column 5, shares amount. Okay, so we can see American, Apple, CVR, which is one of his companies, holographic. So here we go, Icahn Enterprises. So Icahn Enterprises, a ton of different, line items here, but we can add it all up. Okay, that's his Icahn Enterprise holdings. he owns a boatload. So 13F doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't have to disclose right away, but it's basically in that quarter. What positions did he change? What did he buy? It outlines his position amount of shares. So as of now, Carl Icahn, he added 11.4 million shares. It's now 71% of his personal portfolio in IEP, and then this whole report. So we'll read a little bit. Billionaire activist investor Carl Icahn faced a steep challenge recently as his conglomerate IEP was the subject of a short report. Shares of Icahn saw a remarkable drop. Okay, yada, yada, yada. We've already followed this news. On the short report, Icahn Enterprises refuted the allegations, describing them as a disinformation campaign. Whoa, loaded word, disinformation campaign there, and said it would take appropriate steps to protect shareholders and combat the claims. Okay, we're done with this article. Let's look at something else here. Buyback. Let's look up buyback because I've heard a little bit of tea about. Okay, Carl Icahn's firm, and this is by Bloomberg, okays buyback, increases shares backing his debt. Oh, geez, are we gonna hit a paywall here? Oh boy, I do have Bloomberg, but I haven't signed in. No, I'm not going to sign in right now. I haven't signed in, but I do have Bloomberg, and unfortunately, I can't read that article. But, okay, let me describe what would happen in the article. Okay, so Carl Icahn, he okays a buyback. They're going to buy back approximately 500 million shares, I believe. Let's get back into it. Okay, so they're going to buy back. Carl Icahn's holding company authorized a buyback equaling almost 27% of its shares, trading on the open market. Okay, so what's very interesting there, and let me just boil it down, is that, as of the Hindenburg report, Icahn owned, and his associates owned approximately 84% of Icahn Enterprises, right? So that's a huge amount. That means they have a lot of, basically, power in that there's not a lot of liquidity, right? There's only 16% liquidity left in the market. What Icahn said as a response to this whole Hindenburg debacle is, hey, we're going to buy back a ton more shares. So actually 27% of that existing 16% of available shares eaten up. So that means that there's going to be a lot more buying pressure on the stock. And, essentially we're looking at, okay, let's look back at, IEP. Essentially, we're looking at IEP stock. Essentially, we're looking at, maybe there's expected buying pressure in the future. Of course, we are looking at it's Tuesday, May 16th. On Friday is actually the ex-dividend date for this company. So they're going to be announcing, or they already did announce, a $2 per share dividend, and that ex-dividend date is going to be on Friday. So that means on Thursday is the last day for investors to be put on that list to receive that $2 per share dividend. Let's look at one last article that I thought was interesting. I didn't read all of it. Is Icahn Enterprises LP stock a smart investment? Tuesday, and this was released today at 2:53 p.m. It now is 5:42 p.m., but this video is coming out at 8 p.m. Okay, so let's read. Icahn Enterprises common stock is down 36% over the last 12 months, and the average rating from Wall Street analysts is a strong buy. Investors Observer proprietary ranking system gives IP stock a score of 16 out of a possible 100. Well, that's not too hot. Unless it means 1 is the best. I don't think it means that, though. That rank is mainly influenced by a long-term technical score of 2. IEP's rank also includes a short-term technical score of 28. What's the ranking system? Does it mean 1 out of 100? 1 is best or 1 is worst? Anyway, Icahn Enterprises... Is this the whole article? Is that the whole article? Oh my gosh, I thought we were going to be reading a nice article here. I'm so sorry. I wanted to try out a new thing on the show today where I just go and, you know, browse the internet for an article. So, okay, 4 days ago, the karmic quality of Hindenburg's war on Carl Icahn just took on a new cast. It's not just shorting his stock anymore, but his bonds too. That's interesting. In a May 2nd report, the famed short seller Hindenburg Research targeted Icahn's publicly traded conglomerate, Icahn Enterprises, alleging that the company is using a juicy but unsustainable dividend yield to lure retail investors into a Ponzi-like operation. But in a May 10th statement responding to Hindenburg's report, Icahn pushed back with his typical bravado. Quote, Hindenburg Research, founded by Nathan Anderson, would be more aptly named Blitzkrieg Research, given its tactics of wantonly destroying property and harming innocent civilians. Mr. Anderson's modus operandi is to launch disinformation campaigns to distort companies' images, damage their reputations, and bleed the hard-earned savings of individual investors, the billionaire wrote, promising to fight back against the allegations. We're going to look at the May 2nd report by Hindenburg as well. This is the May 2nd report. Now, Hindenburg actually released a follow-up report on May 11th. Icahn's latest disclosure raised critical new questions about margin loans, continued portfolio losses. So this is a response to the response to Carl Icahn. Let's read and dive into that report. On May 2nd, we published a report outlining numerous issues at Icahn Enterprises. The company responded on May 4th by failing to address any of the issues we raised, reiterating its $2 per quarter dividend and promising to address the issues later at length. Given that Carl Icahn has styled himself as a 50-year-old warrior for corporate transparency, we expected he would provide clarity on the issues we highlighted. Yesterday, Icahn Enterprises released its quarterly results, presentation, and its response to our report. In its response, Icahn Enterprises failed to address every key issue we raised. Instead, it rehashed its prior opaque and inadequate disclosures. Perhaps most importantly, the company failed to disclose basic details of Carl Icahn's margin loans, which we strongly suspect represent a near-term critical threat to IEP unit holders. Perhaps the most pressing question raised in our report concerned Carl Icahn's pledging of over 181 IEP units, 60% of his personal holding, for margin loans. And this is what he did to say, quote unquote, protect the stock from falling further. Despite promising to respond at length to the issues raised in our report, Icahn Enterprises offered no new details. Instead, it reported more pledges by Icahn, which now totaled 202 million units, 65% of his personal holdings. Carl Icahn owns roughly 80% of IEP, the company is named after him. As of the most quarter end, Carl has pledged 65% of his personal holdings for loans of unspecified size and unspecified terms. As noted in our earlier report, Icahn had not disclosed basic metrics around his margin loans like loan to value, maintenance thresholds, principal amount, or interest rates. This is still the case. Annual reports indicate that Icahn added $3.4 billion in cash to his investment fund since 2014. Where did the money come from? We strongly suspect Carl Icahn pledged his IEP units for billions in margin loans and reinvested up to $3.4 billion in proceeds into his investment funds, which generated losses of roughly 53% from 2014 to 2002. We find the lack of a specific response to Icahn to such important information and straightforward questions to be very revealing. We strongly respect, based on our analysis that we had not previously published, that Carl Icahn has borrowed billions and reinvested some or all the proceeds into his own investment funds. We took several factors into consideration to arrive at this estimate. 1. Icahn's personal portfolios comprised almost entirely of holdings held in IEP. 2. Every year, IEP filings report the gains or losses in Icahn's investment fund. 3. Every year, IEP filings report the total fair market value of investments in the investment funds made by Mr. Icahn and his affiliates. And, okay, it's just 3. The performance situation has worsened. Icahn failed to mention that post Q1, key public long positions have fallen further by an estimated 13.8%, representing 1.03 billion in addition post-quarter losses. So essentially, Hindenburg Research clapped back once again on May 11th. It's now the 16th. There's been a little bit of news, and the stock seems like the liquidity is just tanking. I mean, we looked in a previous episode how basically the volume of IEP, pre the report was not even touching on a million most days, not even touching on a million shares exchanged. After the report, there were, 14 billion, 15 billion, 10 billion shares exchanged each day. Now it's back pretty close to about 1 million to 2 million to 3 million per day. So there's a lot less shares being exchanged now. I think that this thing is kind of dying down, but we'll continue to watch and we'll continue to look into the financials of IEP. Thanks everyone for watching this little video. I just wanted to go through a little bit of news segments and a little bit of what's going on new, fresh, in this drama between Hindenburg Research and Icahn Enterprises. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and thank you for giving me like buttons to help me grow the channel, and let me know that you like the video. Leave a comment below if you think that I missed anything or if you think I should cover anything in the future. I'm making videos like these constantly. So I'll see you in the next one. Take care.